Well, I thought that Frederick Douglass made that statement in the context of, as Judge Strayhorn has stated, the fact that the law did not afford the black man the right of self-defense against a white aggressor. This is what enabled the slave master to impose a kind of corporal punishment on the slaves that was often imposed upon him. And Frederick Douglass was criticizing the fact that the black man did not have the right in the courtroom of self-defense, and in fact did not even have the right to testify in defense of any charges brought against him. The fact of the matter is he was not even treated, as you know, as a human being in the judicial system. So to the extent that Frederick Douglass made that observation 100 years ago, and if you're now asking if 100 years later there's racism in the court system, that's what I thought you were trying to ask, I thought you were about to ask, as Judge Strayhorn has stated. Of course there's racism in the judicial system. Why wouldn't it be in the judicial? It's in the church, it's in the political arena, it's in the economical arena, it's in the employment arena, it's everywhere.
The judicial system is nothing more than a reflection of the general population. So to that extent, racism existing in our everyday life, yes, there is racism still existing in our judicial system.
What do you feel is responsible for this?
Well, it's society's problem. We have a racist society.
For example, you have now about 23 or 24 United States District Court judges sitting at 219 South Durban Street. Only one is black, and he is on senior status. I think there are about 11 justices or judges on the United States Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit, which has jurisdiction over appeals from federal courts in Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin. Not only is there no black there, not only is there no woman there, there never has been a black or woman of the United States Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit. I beg your pardon, there's another black down in the United States District Court, Ann Williams, a black woman. In the criminal division of the Circuit Court of Cook County, in which 90% of the persons who go through that system, 90% of the defendants are black and 90% of the victims are black. There are 45 judges, as I understand it, who hear nothing but felony cases. Judge Strayhorn is one of those judges. Most of them sit at 26 in California. A few sit at, in Markham, and a few sit at Maywood, and a few sit in Skokie. But of the 45 judges who sit and hear felony cases in Cook County, I think only 4 or 5 are black. Yet 90% of the offenders who go through the system and 90% of the victims are black. Of course you have racism in the system.
And come next week, we're only going to have 4 with Eugene because Judge Cousins is being transferred down to the Law Division. And Judge Cousins is one of the 5 blacks that are out there at the Criminal Division now. But yesterday was his last day in the division, and he's going downtown. And his replacement will be a white judge.
Do you know who it is yet?
Yes, Judge Boland, Michael Boland. There's one silver cloud, slight, just poking its head above the horizon to what Justice Pincham has just said with reference to the percentage of blacks. And you'll be happy to know that the percentage of black defendants is now down to about 85% rather than 90%.
Okay. That is, but those who take the place are minorities, namely
yes.
Hispanics.
Yes.
So the numbers of blacks has not declined, but the percentage has declined because the percentage of Hispanics coming into the system has increased.
Okay.
Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Why is it?
Although there, in the last 2 or 3 years, it seems that I have noted coming into the felony level, the felony level being the level of crimes where, if convicted, an individual can be sent to a penitentiary for a period of time greater than a year. I have noted more young suburban whites coming into the system than ever before in the history of our county. Up to this point, and for whatever the reason it is, that the crime in the suburb was generally swept under the rug when it was perpetrated by these young suburban white kids. But there's been such a proliferation of criminal activity, and the kind of activity no longer can be swept under the rug anymore. So we're getting more whites, suburban, young people in the system than we've ever had before. That's not really something that we ought to be proud of, but it's something that is a fact. And one of the reasons for it, I contend, is because of the fact that so many years they've been permitted to get away with things that normally would have resulted in criminal charges being brought in on a felony level.
Hmm. 1 out of every 4 inmates on death row is black. There are only 2 cases documented where a white person was put to death.
Wait a minute, just a minute, please.
Sure.
May I interrupt you?
Go ahead.
1 out of 4 inmates are black where? On death row where?
In
Illinois, throughout the country?
throughout the country.
No.
I know you're wrong there. I believe you're wrong.
Your figures
are
are
low. Yeah, you're wrong
Oh,
there.
well, I apologize. In my research, this was the information I came across.
No.
Research is
Okay, well
skewed.
then go ahead. Okay, correct me.
I think it's closer to 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
3 out of 4?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Rather than 1 out of 4.
Okay, then I apologize.
No
No,
apologies.
no.
It's just the fact that your facts were just a little skewed. That's all.
Okay. Well, do you think that this is a conspiracy?
Well,
No, I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think it's a way of life.
you see, society is not really serious, not truly serious about capital punishment. What society is doing, and the reason I stopped you when you mentioned your figures, because they just didn't ring correct,
Okay.
because we know that at least certainly 1/2 of the persons on death row, and as Judge Strayhorn said, it's probably close to 3 out of 4 on death row are black throughout the length and breadth of the country. The fact of the matter is, 1/2 your national prison population are blacks. 1/2 the national prison population of blacks, although they tell us we're about 12% of the population. But society wants to pick and choose who it kills as punishment for the commission of crime, based upon, first, who was the victim, and secondly, who committed the crime, rather than upon the nature of the crime itself. And as long as that disparity exists, you're going to find society choosing who to send to death row, choosing blacks. That's, again, is a part of the racism in the system. Blacks will be sentenced to death when they commit crimes calling for the death penalty upon whites. Blacks are not sentenced to death for committing crimes that may have the death penalty upon other blacks. Whites commit so few crimes upon blacks until and it's so negligible we don't even need to go in that statistic. But I do understand that there was 1 white man in the last 6 or 8 months who did receive the death penalty for killing a black. And it was so rare it made news. It made news.